car in the pickup line to get my daughter from school. It is Friday, April something. I have my calendar here, but I don't know what day it is. April 21st, and I have not gotten any writing done since the Spy Masters Prize came out. So my family decided that we needed a new dog since our husky that we had had for 12 years, almost 12 years, passed away last summer. My husband and daughter were really missing having a dog, so we brought home a husky. She was 7 weeks old when we brought her home, and it has been the worst experience, and I'm not really a dog person to begin with, but this is really cemented that I just don't really like dogs, and I don't have any business having a dog. So I'm spending all of my time trying to keep this puppy from destroying the house, and it's raining pretty hard, so you can probably hear that, but it's just what it's gonna be right now, and I'm trying to at least put together some kind of plan. So I've got my planner on my lap, and I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to get back to writing. I'm supposed to be working on Paragon of Light, which is the 4th book in my Spectrum Legacy Epic Fantasy series, and it is just going really badly right now because I don't have any time to write. I managed to get the outline put together, but I'm not being able to get any writing done. So I need to figure out something else, some other way to make some progress. I may have to switch gears for a little while and focus on book marketing instead of trying to write, because there's just no brain power left in me by the end of the day when my husband gets home and he can take over watching the puppy. So a couple of things have happened for my books in the past 2 months. Spectrum Blade, the first book in the Spectrum Legacy Fantasy series, was a finalist for a literary award, and I didn't end up winning, but a friend of mine did, and I'm so happy for her. You know, she's an excellent writer. I think if it had been specifically a fantasy tailored award, I probably would have fared a lot better, and her story was actually set in a place that was relevant to the award itself, which made it a good candidate for it. So, and I'm just sitting there like, okay, well, I got a book about a magic sword. It's maybe not the best fit for this. But I went to that awards ceremony, and I was able to meet a lot of authors who their work was, you know, finalist work, and I connected with 2 separate writing groups, and one of them is interested in having me put together something for an anthology that they want to do, so that's something that I'm, you know, possibly looking at for the coming year. And then the other one has monthly meetings that are like heavily craft oriented, and I went to one of their meetings right after the awards ceremony. It was like a week later, and I went, and I was the youngest person in the room, which was a little bit uncomfortable, but I had a really good time, and I found their presentations really useful. And I've kind of run into a problem of that the more advanced I get as a writer, the harder it is for me to find things that I don't already know. Most writing craft books are not really aimed for like high level education, and I really am going to benefit, I think, from having that more focused like peer group where it's already experienced authors who are looking at things like, you know, here's how you can dissect the meter of poetry and use it to influence your prose writing to make your fiction more memorable. Like that's interesting, and that's useful, and that's the kind of stuff that you're not really going to find in educational books about beginning writing. So those things were great. The writing has been not so great, but I do at least have a couple things outlined. My launch for the Spy Masters Prize went very poorly, and it's not really my fault. I had issues with Amazon, and they messed up my sales page and cost me a lot of sales in that launch window. which there's not really anything that I can do about it. But the first book in the series has continued to sell really well. The Spy Master's Prize, not doing so hot, so I'm gonna have to evaluate it. I think maybe I just picked the wrong one. I had two options when I finished The Assassin's Bride. I could either write a story for Thea's cousin, or I could write a story for Prince Brillian. And at the time I started, I didn't have any feedback from readers yet, and I was like, you know, you meet Thea's cousin first, so we're gonna go with that, and we're going to write her story. And after people started actually responding to me and letting me know what they wanted to see, everybody wanted to see Brilliant's story. So that's the next one on the table. That's the one that I'm doing next. I may end up putting Paragon of Light on hold for a little bit so that I can at least do this. And unless it does really, really well compared to the Spy Master's Prize, I think it's probably going to be the last of the Artisan Magic books, at least for the foreseeable future. I can always come back to it later, but I have a couple of other things that I'm interested in trying, and I really want to make space in my schedule for that. So one nice thing is that since I have the really big back catalog of all of the books, I think if I have to step back for a little bit and work on just marketing what I already have out there for a while instead of writing new books, I think I'll be okay. I would really prefer if I could get, you know, one more book out and have something upcoming to show that, you know, the drop-off is not a permanent thing. This is just like a temporary thing while we get through this absolutely miserable puppy stage. But I don't know how I'm going to be able to work that out. It may be better for me to switch my focus to the next Artisan Magic book for a bit, just because it's going to be shorter. It's also less involved, so it'll be easier to write than Paragon of Light. And since it's, you know, going to be the last book in that series, that's another thing that'll be complete. And I'll be able to pursue advertising that a little bit more aggressively once the series is complete, because people are much more likely to pick up a finished series. Spectrum Legacy, since it's an epic fantasy series, epic fantasy readers are really unlikely to pick up a fantasy series now until the whole thing is out. And even if I finished Paragon of Light right away, that's only book 4 in a 6-book series, so there's still like another year before I'm going to start seeing traction on that series. So I'm trying to balance what I'm most excited for, which is Paragon of Light, versus what makes the most sense business-wise, which is probably finishing Artisan Magic. And sometimes it really sucks to have to put aside the thing that you're really excited for to make the more logical business choice. But with how little time I have right now, it really seems like that's going to be the best idea, even though I really wanted to have another fantasy epic as my next release. I had also originally planned to pretty much take summer off so that I could spend time with my daughter, and that's not going to work out because summer is going to be the only time that I am going to have help with this puppy. So when she starts summer break in like 3 weeks or so, I think it is, I'm gonna have to be really relying on her to look after the dog so that I can actually have a little bit of time to write and time to work. And I think if I do that, then I might be able to have the next Artisan Magic book ready for release by the end of summer, which is still a bigger gap in my release schedule than I would like, but it's probably the only thing that's realistically going to happen. I did at least finally get some decent news from my doctors. They've ruled out a lot of the more concerning possible health problems. I still am very unwell, but whatever it is, it seems like it's just going to be like chronic illness, and not that I am like on the verge of death, which has kind of been a concern for a little while, so at least I had some good news. And unfortunately for now, that's really all I've got. There hasn't been anything big or major going on since I can't make progress with writing anything at the moment, but I think I am going to try to record the process of doing the cover for the next Artisan Magic book, because I feel like people would really enjoy that, possibly benefit from it. So I'm going to do my best to make that happen. I'm not sure if it'll be something that like I stream it and record it and upload the replay, or if I'll try to make it like a more polished, edited video where things are like a little bit more in depth and detail. But that's probably going to be the next big thing that I tackle, and then I'm just kind of trying to get through day by day until Evie is done with school for the year. I'm probably also going to take a little bit of time to put together a buffer of videos for my other channel, my doll channel, because I have not been able to upload anything since we got this dog. I have like no sense of regularity for anything. I'm not having a good time. And I have a couple collaborations coming up that I really need to get some things up for. So in the evenings when I have like an hour after Evie goes to bed, my husband is watching the dog, then I'll probably try to retreat up to my studio and put together some kind of buffer of content that can go up over there. And at least that way people will know I'm still alive. Ideally, when I get back to making things for this channel, it will be a little bit more structured, and I'll probably include some of like my planning, outlining processes, figuring out how I'm going to fit in writing each month. Probably, you know, just little things like that so that I can have like a steady trickle of stuff going up. Even if I don't have a lot of writing going on, once I get back to writing, I'll be doing a little bit of vlogging between my sprints. And ideally, I want to get to a point where I have a vlog up like every week so that I can share my progress as I'm going through it. I've also considered trying to read some of my existing books. I wanted to do some audiobooks and that has not worked out, but that's just kind of the story of my year so far, is that I've had a lot of plans and it's not worked out. But now it looks like the line is moving, so I'm just gonna stop here, and that's sort of the state of writing, and I will hopefully have something a little bit more exciting to share next time. I hope you're doing well, and I will see you hopefully in less than another month.